What's up guys, AQW here, back with another video in stunning 4K quality, and this is Black Ops 6. We finally made it, and I'm just going to be doing some live commentary here talking about my thoughts on the game. But yeah guys, I am absolutely enjoying this game like no other. I am currently Prestige 3, almost 4, which yeah, I've been grinding. I'm working on camos for the AEK right now. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about my thoughts from the beginning. I've got a lot of gameplay under my belt, so we'll talk about all the bits and bobs, all the differences between past zombies experiences and some stuff that I'm hoping maybe we can improve on in the future. I guess we'll start by talking about the core gameplay of Black Ops 6 Zombies, how it feels. And honestly, yeah, it runs really well. If I'm correct, I think we're using the same engine from Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, and I absolutely loved the gameplay, or sorry, the gunplay rather, from that game. And yeah, it feels just as crisp, and yeah, I'm very happy that they continued on with that engine because I do think it's one of the best that we've had. And then the Omni movement is a whole different bag of worms. Oh, hi. Yeah, the Omni movement is something that I've definitely taken some time getting used to, even after max leveling in the beta. And it's a different monster entirely when it comes to zombies, as I'm sure you guys know. But yeah, it's different, but you can still play exactly how you would in old games. It just gives you more options and more opportunities to play differently if that's what you decide to do. Personally, I don't find myself doing much as far as like sprinting backwards. I mean, it kind of happens organically though, right? Like I'm sprinting most of the time as I'm playing zombies, and just turning around it kind of just does that on its own. So maybe I am taking some opportunities with it that I'm not even realizing, but that's fine. But yeah, the engine runs great. I mean, I feel like all hits are registering how you would expect them to, so it's hard to complain about something like that. It seems like since Cold War, Treyarch has really tapped into how a particular game of zombies should go. And I think the systems that are in place here definitely emphasize that. It's sort of custom tuned to be similar in experience, point wise and salvage wise, from game to game, which has its ups and downs. I know people love the old point system, and personally I do too. And I'm hoping that the rumors about a classic mode are correct, because I think it would be a very fun thing to try with some of the systems that are in play here, depending on how much of it is relevant for something like classic mode. But yeah, I still feel like there is some room for uh, some different experiences. Oh my god. This is what happens when it's live commentary. I I'm not focusing at all. But as I was saying, I feel like there are still some moment to moment differences that make this unique while still kind of following the path that Treyarch leads you on, right? For a good example of that, depending on where I'm at and what my plan is, at this point after I come through here, I either go straight to Jug through the doors or I go straight to Pack-a-Punch. But it kind of changes every game on what I decide on. Maybe I'm feeling a bit more confident, and so I just want to push my points into the damage, or I can go for Juggernog if I'm feeling a little rusty, which I may do this time. And that's not to say that stuff like that does not happen in the old games, because it absolutely does. I just feel like it's almost better planned on Treyarch's end how those things are going to go, and where the placements of things should be to make everything feel right within a particular choice, if that makes sense. Now, one of the real most important questions on everyone's mind is, how does this compare to the last round-based game, Cold War? Or probably more especially, how does this compare to everyone's baby, Black Ops 3. And while I'll say that the modernization, the war zonification, if you will, of zombies has been strange, I don't necessarily hate it like others do. And in some ways, in most ways, I think that this is a great combination between those two. I know some people will dog Treyarch for adding Gobblegums back, just saying it's for nostalgia purposes, but I really think the systems of Gobblegums uh, added into something like a modern zombies really complements both sides of that very well. And I think they've balanced most of the Gobblegums quite well in tandem. I think one of the greatest things that they've done, particularly in Black Ops 6 compared to Black Ops 3 and Cold War, is balancing out the ammo mods more, making them feel less like wonder weapons and more of just an evolution of the pace until you get to things like wonder weapons. But we'll talk more about wonder weapons later. I just think the ammo mod changes that they've made on top of the augments that you can get, I think they struck a good balance. Like, I'm fine without having a perk limit. I definitely see both sides of the perk limit or no perk limit argument. I think this game just plays fine without a perk limit though, so I don't see problems there. Maybe in the future, depending on what they decide to add in, but yeah, I think one of the biggest things about this game is just fun. It just feels so much fun. All the systems are kind of in the back of your head as part of your arsenal, unlike other games. Something that I've been finding very fun in particular is the camo grind. I think once again they struck a good balance between a lot and a little, right? I'm super happy that they got rid of the level requirements on the camos because I think attachments and camos should be kind of two separate things. Camos are milestones in bragging rights in a way that shouldn't necessarily be tied down to the allotted time of experience you get with leveling up a gun, but it should be like an all-time sort of thing, and you should be able to start that whenever. And I think Treyarch was happy to listen to opinions like that, and I'm glad they incorporated that. Me personally, I am currently just trying to get everything gold, and I'll move on to the rest of the grind from there. Just because I think, headshots are going to be the most tedious thing, especially for certain guns, which is why I keep this handy for insta-kills. And wouldn't you know it.
We ain't going to overtime today.
Another thing I've been having a great deal of fun with are the Easter eggs, including a lot of the side Easter eggs. I've watched videos, I don't know them all, but I think, just seeing some of them, you can tell Treyarch was just having fun with those things, and I'm really excited to see what other wacky things they do in the future. But some of the ones that we already have at launch are super fun. The main quests Easter eggs, you guys, if you've been watching my channel, know my struggle with Easter eggs. I've already completed both of them, which, it has its pros and cons. Once again, I was a bit disappointed that they were both solved so very quickly, and I even completed the Liberty Falls egg on day one because it was so simple. Even finding some of the steps on my own without looking anything up, and I'm as dumb as they come. So that says something, but it was extremely fun at the same time, and also very simple, as you would expect from a map like Liberty Falls. I think the Liberty Falls Easter egg, in a way, sets you up for the Terminus egg. The little ending lockdown is sort of to wet your toes, so to speak, before something like an actual boss fight like you would get in Terminus. And I will always respect Treyarch for sticking to their guns when it comes to Liberty Falls and keeping it as a simple map when they easily could have added a bunch of complex systems that didn't need to be here. I think this map benefits a lot from just a casual experience. I think with how Black Ops 6 works, it's more fun to just jump in and kill zombies when you want to, at least to have the option, right? And while that's
I got
true,
you.
I
Book it
absolutely
in.
adore Terminus as well, but I will talk about that in a future video when I review the map separately because I do have a lot to say. But the Easter eggs are about as complex as you would expect between the two maps. I do wish Terminus took a bit longer to solve, and maybe there's some other things that they could have added to spice it up, but I think it's a great complex launch map Easter egg, and I personally think it is one of the best boss fights in COD Zombies
Any other
history, and I would like to talk about the cutscenes, but I will save that for the map videos as well. But I will just say I am so extremely pumped with where they're going with everything. It leaves us with a lot of questions about the old and the new going forward, so I am totally psyched about all that. I do want to have a short little side tangent about a particular perk, and that is Melee Macchiato. I will say Melee Macchiato is, at least in modern no perk limit zombies, one of the few perks that I feel like are very build dependent, which kind of goes in the face of not having a perk limit. Like, I don't really see myself buying Melee Macchiato unless I just have 100,000 points lying around. But even when I'm at 30, 40K, I tend to not buy it just in case I have to go down and rebuy my perks. And I want to make sure I have enough to get those perks that I know are essential versus something like Melee Macchiato, which is so situational and build dependent, but I do think it has its place. I have not gone through and done any melee runs just yet. I'm sure I'll find a lot more use out of it in those. But as it stands right now, Melee Macchiato is probably the weakest perk in Black Ops 6 Zombies and, potentially ever. But I will commend Treyarch for thinking outside the box. It is a very different perk. I know they kind of tested the
What
waters
can I
on a
say?
melee perk with
Uptown, please.
Ethereal Razor in Black Ops 4, and you can augment Melee Macchiato to feel closer to that. I don't know. It's just I haven't seen its full potential yet, so I'll save all of my thoughts for another time. But as it stands right now, yeah, Melee Macchiato is just not an all-around perk like you'd expect when having no perk limit. Also, I am absolutely bawling, and I've just been talking, and I don't know why I haven't pack-a-punched or upgraded. So I'm gonna do that really quick before I feel the consequences. Last thing before I forget, I will say the perk machine is one of the coolest. I do have to admit the perk machine is extremely creative, and I do love that. But another topic I wanted to cover here in this video is wonder weapons, and I will say once again, they struck a good balance. It almost feels like
Any other
the ray
demo?
gun is not overpowered, like in Cold War and in the OG days, but it's not boring and useless like it is in Black Ops 3. I think they struck a good middle ground in making the ray gun feel like a pseudo wonder weapon, and it's sort of the path between your maxed out legendary guns and the actual wonder weapon on each map, the beam smasher and the jet
Just
gun,
get
which I don't know if that's the goal they were necessarily going for. I mean, if what I'm saying is true, it kind of goes against the idea of like the Wonder Bar Gobble Gum because it kind of treats those of equal quality, and I don't necessarily think they are. I think the ray gun has certain places over the other wonder weapons, but I think any day of the week I'd prefer the unique ones from each map in just all around utility. The beam smasher is
okay.
quite a unique wonder weapon with two firing modes. I think they toyed with that idea in Modern Warfare Zombies with the Scorcher. And yeah, it's unique in that it can slow zombies, which I think has incredible utility. You just have your DPS beam, and when you combine those two, you get something special. Maybe a better example of what it's similar to would be something like the Ray K or the Raygun Mark III from Garad Krovi. But yeah, I enjoy it, and it's alt fire utility on top of its combination attack, I think makes it unique. And I'm glad that they're trying different things, because one thing we don't want is staleness, and I feel like there's only so many things that you can put into a wonder weapon without
The
making
boat.
it
It's on me.
too ridiculously overpowered. But while we're talking about overpowered, we'll talk about the jet gun. Easily, I would say easily a top 5 wonder weapon ever of all time, maybe even top 3. I one day I'll do a ranking, but wow, the jet gun is overpowered. I think that fits in with Liberty Falls as a map. It's casual. You want a wonder weapon that's going to do the trick in a pinch very simply, very easily, and the jet gun delivers that. It also has good utility with its napalm burst, like alt fire attack. As far as manglers and abominations go, I think they really found a way to fit the jet gun back into our lives as zombies players in a fantastic way. I don't think it was anything we ever saw coming, bar a Transit remake, but we have it and it's better than ever, and I am absolutely loving it. The last thing I'll talk about before we go into what we want in the future is the augment system, the brand new thing to Black Ops 6. And as it stands, I am enjoying the augment system. Maybe not as much as I expected, but I
Anyone
definitely
else like
think
to
there's
see a
room
replacement?
to make the augment system great. I am here and there experimenting between strategies and augments that go with those strategies, but I do find that once I find a good strategy with those augments, I don't find myself switching very often. Now, that may just be me, and I am totally acknowledging that, maybe some of the cruddier augments would make for an interesting challenge run. But if I'm going for gold and going for a high round, I feel like I know what augments I'm gonna be using in that run. Now, I do find it to be better than the Cold War system, where once you have everything done, you're
Yeah, I
absolutely
thought your
overpowered,
accent's
which
alright.
can be fun, and some of the augments do make you feel that way, but I don't feel as though I need every single augment on at all times. And, maybe there will be a super Easter egg that allows you to have more than one minor or major augment. But until then, I think they've towed the middle line very well. And I think once they come out with more things that augments will apply to, such as more perks, potentially more ammo mods, things like that, and add in more augments to the things that we have here at launch, I think there will be more room for creativity
Cause of chaos.
and switching
I
things
got
up.
you
I
in the
think Treyarch
fucking
just
head.
needs to see how we're doing what we're doing with them, what we're sticking to, so they can find something that gives maybe a similar effect, but in a different way, if that makes any sense. It
Crowd
is
pleaser.
all a waiting game until season 1 and beyond, though. I hope that they do decide to add more augments to the old items, but that's not a guarantee. I think more than anything, what I want that for would be just to have something to grind for after the camo grind. But at the same time, I would like them to go absolutely wacky bonkers with the augments, just so we have a little bit more creativity between games. Hey guys, me from the future here, and really quick, I just wanted to say it appears that Treyarch has confirmed that during the Season 1 Reloaded update, we will only be receiving 18 new augments. That's 6 for the new perk, new field upgrade, and new ammo mod. And while I'm loving this, that we're already getting a new batch of all 3 of those, my point still stands that I would really love to see augments for items that we already have. So let's continue. Now, what do I want for the future of Black Ops 6?
I
Well, I'll
win.
say what I've already mentioned are augments for new items and items that we currently have, new perks, something hopefully more useful than Melee
You
Macchiato,
need it?
whether it's a returning perk such as double tap or mule kick that I'm hearing talks about, or something brand new that is maybe a bit more versatile than Melee Macchiato is. I think. Hey, me again. And while mule kick and double tap are likely in the works for this game, as the code suggests, it looks like COD Leaker Reality UK has said the new perk will be none other than Vulture Aid. Now, we've only seen this perk officially back in Black Ops 2 Unburied, but I think this perk has great potential to be a strong utility perk, taking from things like Death Perception and some of the upgrades to Mule Kick that we saw in Cold War, and I love this. It's not too crazy to start, but it should serve great purpose in the rest of BO6's life cycle, and if nothing else, I'm sure it's better than Melee Macchiato. I would even be totally fine to add in some unique field upgrades. I feel like they sort of have gone back on the ideas of field upgrades. They sort of tore down stuff like, Frost Blast since Cold War and Vanguard, but add it in. I mean, it's just another thing to
Keep it
use, and
coming.
if people like
I've
it,
did my
go for
bloodline
it.
time.
Even if a couple people use it, the more the merrier. Maybe they didn't have many unique augment ideas for that particular field upgrade. Hey, I'm jumping in one last time here to say that Reality UK has also said the new field upgrade will be Frostblast. If so, I'm glad they're adding it in, but considering we've seen it before, I wish it would just have been here at launch so we could leave the fresh ones for the rest of the life cycle. But, anyways, back to it. I don't know. I feel like at a certain point, you just kind of would maybe go off of what the community thinks. What would
Who's
the
next?
community
Any
add
takers?
as far as augments go? And I think as a
I
community
knew
we
you'd
could
be
come up with something unique
fresh.
like for Frost Blast. And going forward, maybe augments for some of the old school perks that might be returning. I'm sure there's 100 Reddit posts right now theory crafting on the different augments that we may or may not be able to get for double tap. So yeah, I think that's just maybe just something to roll with, right? The zombies community is extremely passionate and extremely creative. I wouldn't put it past us to come up with something that would be unique and fun and maybe balanced. As far as the story going forward in the future of Black Ops 6 and beyond, I think we're in a good place, and I have so much faith in Treyarch to just go wild and do some fun things with it. I'm hoping that they don't backtrack mid-season and lose some people with where they're going, but regardless, I think the people that are experiencing the story and completely wrapping their heads around what we're seeing, I think are the ones that will appreciate what they're doing for better or worse. And yeah, I'm here for it. I've heard talks about the ray gun Mark II making a return. I would love that. I think there's a lot of room for potential within the ray gun Mark II returning, and hopefully some other wacky wonder weapons from the past. Yeah, I think I can confidently say that we are in
Hey,
a
boss,
very
what's your
good
spot?
spot with Black Ops 6, and I'm hoping that we can keep the momentum. I think this is probably Treyarch's most successful launch reception for zombies, and I it just brings a tear to my eye.
That's what I
I'm
call a
so
fighter.
happy that even the naysayers are enjoying this game, at least a majority, and I cannot wait to see what the future holds for this game. But anyways, guys, I've been AQ Devi. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I have a ton of content that I have ideas for over the course of Black Ops
Wouldn't face
6, so
Midwest,
I
could you?
appreciate it. I appreciate you guys sticking with me, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.